There are people who are not lacking in intelligence, kindness, or ability. Yet somehow, wherever they go, they are easily misunderstood, struggle to make a good impression, and after just a short conversation, others lose interest. Even important relationships gradually begin to crack. The issue isn't that they don't know how to speak, but that they keep repeating communication habits that quietly damage their own image. Many people think communication is just about speaking well. It's not. Communication is how others feel about you after the conversation ends. You can be right yet still make others want to avoid you. You can have good intentions, but the wrong way of expressing them can turn everything into pressure, discomfort, and even hurt. In this video, we'll go straight into 10 things you should absolutely avoid when communicating with others if you want to be respected, truly heard, and build stronger, more lasting relationships. Watch until the end, because the further you go, the more you'll realize that some mistakes you thought were small are actually pushing people away from you a little more each day. Habit 1. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. A lot of people think they are listening, but in reality, they are only staying quiet while waiting for their chance to respond. The moment the other person finishes talking, they jump in with something like, "Yeah, I've been through that too. No, what you need to understand is this." Or, "Let me tell you, my story was even worse." That is not communication. That is competing for the spotlight. When someone is sharing something with you, the first thing they need is not a lesson, not judgment, and definitely not a bigger story that overshadows theirs. What they need first is the feeling of being received. The moment you let them feel, "I truly understand what you're saying," the whole conversation changes. For example, a friend says, "I've been really stressed with work lately." A poor response would be, "Stressed? Everyone's job is stressful." A better response would be, "It sounds like work has really been weighing on you. What's been the hardest part for you?" The moment you shift from the reflex to answer into the reflex to explore further, you instantly upgrade the quality of your communication. Small action step. In your next conversation, before you respond, make yourself ask one more question to better understand the other person. Don't rush to tell your own story. Habit 2. Don't interrupt just to prove you're quick-witted. Interrupting is often disguised as enthusiasm, intelligence, or "I get it, so let me jump in and save time." But what the other person actually feels is, "What I'm saying isn't important enough to be heard fully." Someone who gets interrupted repeatedly will eventually stop opening up. They may still sit there, still nod along, but internally they've already withdrawn from the conversation. This habit is especially harmful in work or family settings. You may think you're saving time, but in reality you're creating an environment where others feel disrespected. For example, in a meeting, someone is still explaining their point and you cut in. "So you're suggesting we increase the budget, right?" You might be right, but you might also have just cut off the most important part of their argument. Small action step. Practice pausing for 2 seconds after someone finishes speaking. That brief pause helps you avoid interrupting and also makes you come across as more calm and composed. Habit 3. Don't turn every conversation into a chance to correct others. There are people who constantly feel the need to fix others, correcting their wording, their opinions, their emotions, their choices, even the way they tell a story. They believe they're being straightforward, sharp, and principled. But what others actually feel is judged, pressured, and diminished. Not everything that's right needs to be said immediately. Not every mistake needs to be corrected on the spot. And not every conversation needs a winner. For example, someone shares a story with a small inaccuracy. If that detail doesn't affect the essence of the story, jumping in to correct it only breaks the flow of connection. Good communicators understand something important. The goal is not always absolute accuracy. The goal is to maintain connection while staying honest. That doesn't mean being fake. It means knowing which battles are worth picking. From today, before correcting someone, ask yourself, does this really need to be corrected right now? Will this improve the relationship or just make me feel more right? Habit 4. Don't use an overpowering tone. Many people don't intend to offend, but their tone makes others feel pressured or cornered. Speaking too loudly, too fast, too forcefully, too sharply, too coldly, or with a constant sense of authority, all of these can distort the message. People don't just hear what you say. They also feel the emotion behind it. Take the same sentence. "Could you redo this part?" Said in a calm tone, it feels completely different from when it's said with irritation, condescension, or sarcasm. The content is the same, but the psychological impact is entirely different. If you often notice others becoming defensive when talking to you, don't just look at your words. Pay attention to the energy you bring into the conversation. Small action step. When giving sensitive feedback, slow your speaking pace down by about 15%. Speak a little slower, a little shorter, and a little softer. That's not weakness, it's control. Habit 5. Don't rush to give advice when it's not needed. This is a very common mistake. Someone is sharing because they want to be understood, but you immediately switch into advisor mode. You think you're helping, but advice given too early can feel like being lectured. Someone says, "I feel really disappointed in myself." A typical reaction is, "You need to stay positive. Don't think like that. Try reading this book," or "You should do ABC." But sometimes what they need most is simply, "I understand how heavy that must feel." Advice only has value when the other person is ready to receive it. Before that, your presence matters more than your solutions. If you've made it this far, pause for 5 seconds and ask yourself, out of the first 5 habits, which one do you struggle with the most? Write down that number or drop it in the comments. Don't just watch passively, use this as a chance to reflect on how you're connecting with others. And if you truly want to improve your communication skills, subscribe now. The next videos won't just point out what's wrong, they'll show you exactly how to fix it. Habit 6. Don't talk excessively about yourself to impress others. A subtle mistake is thinking that to be liked, you need to talk a lot about your achievements, experiences, connections, knowledge, or challenges you've overcome. But when yourself takes up too much space, the other person starts to feel like they're just an audience in your personal presentation. Attractive people aren't the ones who talk the most about themselves. They're the ones who make others feel comfortable in their presence. For example, in a new conversation, if you constantly steer everything back to yourself, "I've done," "I know," "I also know someone who," "back then I," no matter how interesting you are, the other person will eventually feel drained. A great principle to remember is share to connect, not to prove. Small action step. In a 1-0 minute conversation, aim to speak less than 50% of the time. Ask questions, respond thoughtfully, and give the other person space to express themselves. Habit 7. Don't rely on sarcasm as a default communication style. Many people see sarcasm as witty, clever, or humorous. But the truth is, sarcasm only works in the right amount, with the right person at the right time, and when there's already a strong foundation of trust. Used too often, it makes you come across as distant, unpredictable, and emotionally unsafe. A joke like, "Wow, impressive, you just finished that now," might sound playful to you. But to the other person, it can feel like a subtle jab. Especially for someone who is already insecure, under pressure, or not very close to you, that comment doesn't feel as light as you think. Mature communication isn't about making others feel awkward so you can appear sharper. Small action step. Before making a sarcastic remark, ask yourself, if I were on the receiving end, would I feel respected? Habit 8. Don't project your emotions onto others. Some people enter conversations already in a bad mood, then unconsciously turn it into the shared atmosphere. They become subtly irritated, give short responses, overreact, assume negative intent, and then justify it by saying, "I'm just tired." Yes, being tired is real. Pressure is real. But mature people don't use their unprocessed emotions as an excuse for careless communication. You can simply say, "I'm a bit overwhelmed today, so if I don't respond well, I apologize in advance." That one sentence makes a huge difference compared to letting others absorb your mood. Before your next important conversation, quickly check 3 things. Am I tense? Am I rushed? Am I about to take this out on someone? If the answer is yes, pause for a few minutes or take a moment to reset first. Habit 9. Don't try to win every conversation. One of the fastest ways to destroy connection is the need to compete. In this mindset, every disagreement turns into a debate. The moment the other person finishes speaking, you start looking for flaws to argue against. You're not really trying to understand, you're hunting for weaknesses. The problem is, in relationships, winning an argument can mean losing a person. Not every disagreement needs to be pushed to the end. Sometimes the wisest thing you can say is, "I understand why you see it that way, even if you don't fully agree." That doesn't make you weak, it shows you're secure enough not to win at all costs. For example, in a discussion with someone close, instead of saying, "You're always being unreasonable," try, "Maybe we're looking at this from 2 different perspectives." That small shift can immediately soften the tension. Small action step in your next disagreement. Hold back one rebuttal you really want to say. and replace it with a sentence that acknowledges the other person's perspective. Habit 10. Don't say one thing and act another way. Nothing erodes trust faster than a mismatch between words and actions. You say, feel free to share, but the moment someone opens up, you judge them. You say, I respect you, but when emotions rise, you interrupt, mock, or belittle them. You say, call me anytime you need, but when they actually do, you disappear. Communication isn't measured by how good your words sound. It's measured by your consistency. Trustworthy people are those whose words carry weight because their actions back them up. When you're consistent, others feel safe to trust you, open up to you, and keep you in their lives long term. Small action step tonight. Think of one sentence you often say to others. Then ask yourself, am I truly living this out? If the answer is no, start by fixing your actions before fixing your words. If you look back at all 10 habits, you'll realize that communication isn't about learning a few clever lines, a few social tricks, or surface-level techniques to make a good impression. The core of communication lies in something much deeper: how big your ego is when you enter a conversation, how aware you are in the moment, and how genuine your respect for the other person truly is. A great communicator isn't the one who speaks the smoothest, nor the one who wins every argument, and certainly not the one who always has the fastest response. A great communicator is someone who makes others feel seen, heard, respected, and safe within the conversation. That is an incredibly powerful skill. Because in life, people may forget exactly what you said, but long after they will remember how they felt around you. And most importantly, you don't have to change everything at once. Just start with one habit. Only one. Pick the mistake you make most often, observe it over the next 7 days, and consciously work on it in each small conversation. That alone can significantly improve the quality of your relationships. Not because you become more polished, but because you become more mature in how you show up for others. Now take action with these 3 steps. First, comment the number 110 of the habit you struggle with the most. Second, share this video with someone you think would benefit from it. Third, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next video will cover 10 phrases that instantly lower your value in conversations. A very real, slightly uncomfortable, but highly valuable topic if you want your words to carry more weight. Don't wait until a relationship fades, an opportunity passes, or someone important drifts away before you start learning how to communicate with care and effectiveness. Starting today, in your next conversation, slow down a little, listen a little deeper, and let go of your ego just a little. That small shift alone might be enough to change how the world responds to you.